What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things that they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. You can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everyone is doing well. I had a different story come in right before the show, and I was just for a joke, I was going to bring it up. I was unsuccessful in finding that. It was just about a couple of bears that are raiding a Krispy Kreme truck up in Alaska. But so while I was looking for that story, I ran across some updates to the F-35 situation that had just happened. And, well, from the way it looks, we were all wrong, except I think I was pretty damn close. A hell of a lot closer than it was the Russians or the Chinese, that's for damn sure. So there's an article that came out, and I'm pretty sure that they're being straight in it. And so I figured I would update you guys on what's going on with that. Because, you know, let's be honest, there were a lot of people out there talking about how, oh my gosh, this is war. This is, you know, they hacked our planes. No. See, here's the thing. If they would have hacked the F-35s, it wouldn't have just been the Marine variant. I understand that the Marine variant is different than the others. They're all different. But a lot of their software, a lot of it is the same, especially when it comes to the gathering of information. Flight control systems, to an extent, would be copied over, except for you would have some additions to things like the B here, which is what the Marines do fly. That would have some additions because that's the variant that can take off vertically and land vertically. So obviously it's gonna have more equipment. So I was sitting there looking for the differences and just trying to, you know, use the process of elimination in order to kind of try to narrow down what may have happened. And, well, there was something about this plane that I was completely unaware of. But it happens to be apparently the boogeyman in this story. It says, the crash of an F-35B Joint Strike Fighter aircraft in South Carolina over the weekend has raised numerous questions about what prompted the pilot to eject and how the $100 million warplane was able to keep flying pilotless for 60 miles before crashing. So, first off, let's go ahead and read this paragraph, which kind of explains part of it. And then after the second paragraph here, you'll understand what happened. A U.S. Marine Corps pilot was flying a single-seat F-35B fighter jet on Sunday when the pilot experienced a malfunction and was forced to eject. A Marine Corps official who was not authorized to speak publicly said on condition of anonymity, the aircraft was only at an altitude of about 1,000 feet and only about a mile north of Charleston International Airport in a populated area that led the pilot to parachute into a residential backyard. So here's the issue. The Marine Corps variant of the F-35 is different from the Air Force or the Navy versions in that it can take off and land like a helicopter, which allows it to operate on amphibious assault ships. But it's also different, and that's the only one of the three variants that has an auto-eject function on its ejection seat, according to seat manufacturer Martin Baker. That has raised questions as to whether the malfunction the pilot experienced was the seat itself. On the Air Force and Navy versions, the pilot has to initiate the ejection, said Dan Grazier, a former Marine Corps captain and senior defense policy fellow at the Project on Government Oversight. But the Marines version auto-eject is intended to better protect the pilot in case something goes wrong with the aircraft when it's in hover mode. Was that a function triggered for some reason and punched the pilot out, Grazier said. There's a lot of unanswered questions. Last December, an F-35B that had not yet been delivered to the Marine Corps crashed at a Naval Station Joint Reserve Base, Fort Worth in Texas. The jet had been in the hover mode over the airfield and began to drop, hit the runway, and bounced before the pilot was ejected into the air. In July 2022, the Air Force temporarily grounded its F-35s over ejection seat concerns. While the Air Force F-35A does not have an auto-eject function, some of the cartridges that initiate the ejection in the warplane were found to have issues leading to the grounding. At the time, the F-35 ejection seats, including the Navy and Marine Corps variants, were inspected and continued to be looked at during standard maintenance on aircraft. The F-35 Joint Program Office said in a statement to Associated Press. So, I'm thinking that pilot didn't do anything. I'm thinking that pilot was just as shocked as everybody else as to what happened. So, again, it's not the Russians, it's not the Chinese, aside from possibly really cheap Chinese components. I mean, that it might be, but it wasn't them hacking. It wasn't any of the horror or fear-mongering and all that jazz that people want to do. Shit happens. So, these aircraft have been a thorn in this nation's side ever since their conception. And will continue to be. Why? Because, once again, they picked the wrong fucking version to have built. They do it all the time. The space shuttle, right? We wouldn't have had the space shuttle disasters that we had if they would have chose the better design. There was a much better design for the space shuttle. The problem is to build it that one time, it was going to cost a little bit more than what it was going to cost to build the version that they built. But the problem is you had to replace so much crap on the version they went with that even by the second time you put the damn thing up in space, you've spent way more than what you would have spent to have built the other version to begin with. That didn't have to have all the panels and stuff replaced, the heat shield panels and all that replaced. So, and they may have, been a little more sticklers about O-rings and boosters, but we won't talk about that. Let's see. That's really sad when you think about it. When you think about the part that led to the Challenger disaster, the cost of that part, and the fact that they were just trying to save money, it's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Okay, so we've got, 6 tabs open tonight. I'm going to rip through them and rip through the headlines and get to bed. I'm sore. I was sore when I went to bed last night. I need somebody to jump up and down on my back with a sledgehammer. Alright. Or just hit me with a truck 3 times. That'll work. Let me know. I'll run out there. Hit me 3 times, though. I don't want to be limping away from this bitch. No. Okay, we'll do some news. Oh, I got huffed. It's hard to tell a joke that Blue appreciates. It really, truly is. Even all the cat jokes. When you had an 8-minute show the other day. Oh, okay. Right on. I saw it. I saw it then, and I sorry I didn't reply. I am probably the world's biggest son of a bitch when it comes to replying in a text manner. I hate anything to do with typing. I do. I hate it. I don't know why. I've been that way for most of my life. I don't like to write. I don't like to type. I wonder if it's that I don't like to communicate. I don't mind the phone so much, but if you're gonna make me type or use my fingers to talk, Anyway, that's you probably saw me see it today. And nah, dude, I lost patience that night. The internet was fine. It was banging. Me, not so much. So, yeah, no. Let's see. I lost patience and lost my cool. Yeah, I killed it. Yep. It wasn't Hillary. Bitch missed me this time. Alright, got some headlines here. Russia boosting hypersonic missile productions. That's Rostec. Now, I've got a little bit to add to this. Not about Russia. And I have to be very careful how I say this. Because I don't want any whatsoever people figuring out who it is. Somebody local hears this. It's possible. So anyways, somebody that's on our team is involved in an industry that cleans up messes. Okay? And they very recently, and I mean very, 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 very recently, were called out to oversee an operation in which something had to be transferred from one thing to another thing so that they could go on about their business safely. There was no breach of containment. There was no issue. There was an issue, but nothing became of it. They were able to do what they needed to do to secure the issue and then went about their mission. But the important part of it was the fact of this particular thing being moved. And I know that is nothing but a big ball of egg. But I really don't want to cause this person problems. And it would be really, really, really... In fact, I've said enough to where you could put some pieces possibly together if you lived here and you... But, you know. My point is, we really need to be keeping on. And, don't let up on it. The war drums are getting louder. Much, much louder. And I know it feels like a bipolar subject because one day we're talking about how things are getting, tense and escalating in Russia, and the next day it's China, then South Korea, North Korea. And I don't think that's by chance. I mean, we were told in, I don't know, some old book, that they would use things like confusion in order to keep us tripped up and throwing so much stuff at us. And that's exactly what's going on. So, but there are movements being made that would indicate that there is support going out for conflict, major conflict. So we'll see if there's anything more. I mean, that's all I would get, I'm sure, from that individual about that, because that would have been the end of their involvement. But yeah, crazy. So, let's talk about sex, baby. Oh, sorry. I know everybody's like, oh God, no, no. So, the two people I did have watching went to -5. No. Well, people try to claw that memory back out of their brain. Alright, let's see. Russia boosting hypersonic missile production, says Rostec. Says Russia's Rostec has ramped up the production of hypersonic Kinzhal or Dagger missiles. The defense conglomerate's industrial director Bakan Azdov has revealed. He added that the amount of other types of military hardware and munitions being churned out has also increased dramatically, I'm sure. On Tuesday, Interfax quoted Azdov as saying that the figures for certain munitions have risen up to tenfold. He noted that, among other things, the production of missiles for the Kinzhal, Iskander, and Pantsir systems, aerial bombs, artillery, and tank shells is being ramped up. And what's the United States doing, by the way? Nothing. Well, I mean, we are shipping all our stuff over to Ukraine for them to use up. We're doing that. Well, we're doing a lot of that. Says, according to Azdov, Russian defense manufacturers are making more and more tanks, armored vehicles, and multiple launch rocket systems. The director added that there are also plans to increase the production of military drones, with work ongoing in the development of guided artillery munitions. Back in July, Rostec Deputy CEO Vladimir Ardyakov said that the state-owned company had moved to serial production in earnest of Kinzhal missiles, which had previously been limited by a need to fully complete the research and development. So whatever the Defense Ministry asks of us, we do that with quality and deliver the quantities it requires, Ardyakov said at the time. The Kinzhal has been in service with the Russian military since 2017. Blows my mind. 6 years. Their hypersonic missile has been in service, and we still haven't had a single successful test. Make America great again. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you never have thought you could do it with a hat and some signs, but yeah. The Kinzhal has been, I covered that, been in service since 2017. The missile can travel at a speed of up to Mach 12, while constantly performing evasive maneuvers, which is believed to allow it to penetrate any existing air defenses. Where's Beavis? They said penetrate. So yeah. And we got nothing. We got nothing to be able to defend against it. Nothing. Pretty messed up. So, another indicator that things might not be going so hot is things like this. UK restricts movement of Russian diplomats. Copy. UK Foreign Office, pardon me, has imposed travel restrictions on Russian diplomats, requiring them to notify British authorities before journeying beyond their posts. The move is retaliatory, coming after the Russian Foreign Ministry announced similar rules for British diplomats in July. In response to Russia's decision to impose travel notification requirements on British diplomats in Russia, we have introduced commensurate, and I don't know how the hell that word, that's it. Google, where are you? When we need you in a time like this. It's important. It's impotent.
Commensurate.
See, I should have known that. I don't know why I do that. There's like a handful of words that, hyperbole, that'll get me every time. I'll say hyperbole every damn time when it's hyperbole. This is another one that gets me, and it's like I gotta listen to the damn thing every time. Commensurate. Sorry. Reciprocal travel notification requirements for Russian diplomats accredited to the Russian Embassy in London and the Consulate General in Edinburgh. UK Parliamentary Under Secretary of State at the Foreign Office, Leo Doherty, wrote in a statement on the UK Parliament website on Monday. Well, with a name like Doherty, you know you can trust him. Or her, or whatever they identify as this morning. Pardon me. That announcement came 4 months after the Russian Foreign Ministry announced similar travel restrictions on British diplomats in Russia, citing the UK's hostile actions, including the obstruction of the normal functioning of Russian diplomatic offices. So, it's the little diplomatic tit for tat. And we all know diplomats like tits. So, you okay, back to being an adult. Ukraine seeking alternative to Musk technology, says Al Pius. Oh, man. Said Kiev wants to reduce its dependence on SpaceX Starlink satellites, although it knows that it would be difficult as the network forms part of the backbone of Ukraine's defense, Al Pius reported on Tuesday. The Spanish newspapers claim that Kiev has been looking for alternatives to the communication services provided by Elon Musk's company since the early days of the Ukraine conflict. According to the report, Ukrainian officials recognize that it would be impossible to simply stop using Starlink, and they hope that the U.S., Kiev's main backer, will guarantee that SpaceX will not leave them in the lurch. Meanwhile, Captain Viktor Tregubov of Ukrainian Army told Al Pius that while there are few alternatives to Starlink, they still exist. When asked to elaborate, Tregubov described the issue as a state secret, adding that there are projects underway in the United States and Ukraine. Nevertheless, he admitted that without Starlink, everything would be much more difficult. So, I think what's probably going on... I think what's probably going on is they're putting in a system to be able to directly control these UAVs, whether they be submersibles, whether they be, aviation style, whatever the case may be. I think what it is Ukraine and the United States are putting in the framework so that those systems don't need Starlink to operate off of. However, you have to understand they've got people everywhere that are using Starlink internet to be able to communicate back and forth. So it's not just people that's in the field. It's people all throughout the mission. No matter what they are, where they are, what they're doing, they all need to be able to communicate. And they've been using Starlink as a way to do that. And pass information and what have you. So it's not just about that connection that, say, the UAVs need to, fulfill their task. It's also about all the people involved in support and the whole shebang. So, and that's why it's important to have Starlink. Will the United States step in and be able to do something to be able to take over? From what I understand, as far as that region is concerned, Musk has turned over the operation of that to the Pentagon. From my understanding, he had made a statement led to the idea that he wanted no part of it, and so he stepped back. He gave the controls over to the Pentagon when it comes to the area like around Crimea and stuff like that. So I don't know. The story's changed a half a dozen times. All right. This is something that, of course, it's been an ongoing issue for a long time. However, more recently, it's flaring back up again. U.S. warns Azerbaijan to end military operation. It says U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has called for an immediate end to hostilities by Azerbaijan against the ethnic Armenian province of Nagorno-Karabakh. The Azeri operation has been condemned by the EU, U.S., and Russia. Azerbaijan's unacceptable military actions and risk worsening the humanitarian situation in Nagorno-Karabakh, Blinken said in a statement on X on Tuesday. We call for an immediate end to hostilities and for direct dialogue. Earlier on Tuesday, an anonymous U.S. official told Reuters that Blinken would hold talks with all sides in a bid to end the egregious outbreak of violence in the province. Azerbaijan launched what is called counterterrorism measures against the ethnically Armenian province of Nagorno-Karabakh earlier on Tuesday. Baku claims that it is targeting a buildup of the Armenian military in the province, while Yerevan denies deploying units to Nagorno-Karabakh and has accused Azerbaijan of attempting to carry out the ethnic cleansing of the Armenian enclave. So, just, register that somewhere up there in the gray matter, that things are heating up there again a little bit. And it happens quite often, but anything at this point, it's like the entire planet, as far as the tensions between nations, it's like a tinderbox. So all it's going to do is take the right and or wrong, depending on how you look at it, thing to happen, and things could go belly up real damn quick. U.S. national debt passes new landmark. I'm not going to sit here and read all through this because you've probably heard this 3, 4, 5 dozen times already today. 33 trillion with a T. Holy hell, Batman. It just, no. No, and the American people do nothing. It's amazing. Blows my mind. But we can organize for that baseball game, that football game, that NASCAR race. You got the International Gym Convention, where all gyms get together and Las Vegas. I'm kidding. Who knows? There might be a gym convention. I have no idea, but if not, damn it, there should be one. A gym convention. All the gyms worldwide meet in Las Vegas. See if they can jimmy the machines. Anyway, we better get continued on with the news here. My jokes won't get any better. You've been warned. Germans facing higher gas bills, says Bloomberg. I think we're going to see a lot of this, yo. I think this is just starting for this season. Man, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked to see gas doubling, if not a little more again. So we'll see. I sure hope not. It's not like I'm wishing this on people. But, you gotta understand, the idea behind what's going on is to squeeze us out. So, take that in consideration. They intend for us not to be able to afford to live. So, all right. Again, no need to read through that whole story. You know the deal. And it won't just be there. It'll be here. It'll be, because we got to pay for the subsidizing of all the fuel and stuff going to Ukraine and everywhere else. So, gotta love how that happens. Here, you think you're doing good for spending $50 and getting free shipping at the Walmart online store. Then you're paying for shipping for oil and gas when you pay your power bill. Okay, I'll quit. I wasn't wrong, though. India rejects Canada's absurd allegations. And I will say, damn it, how dare you, Canada? I have no idea what they said, but how dare them? Russian MPs to ditch foreign cars. British papermaker to sell last factory in Russia. Wow. Good for you. Iconic U.S. clothing brands may return to Russia. South Asian leader slams AUKUS pact. I mean, did you have like the printed copy and you slammed it down on the table? Or were you a complete tard and you had it like in a Kindle format and you just destroyed your tablet? I don't know. EU seeking something Russian to sanction, says Bloomberg. Sweden not doing enough to join NATO, says Erdogan. Well, how many times do they got to be the middleman at the circle jerk? I mean, at some point, New York Times exposes Zelensky lie about Donbass missile strike. France reveals stance on Russian car ban. Azerbaijan announces counter-terrorism measures in disputed region. Russia reveals main source of profits after oil and gas. Putin behind EU migrant crisis, says Polish diplomat. EU surprised a Ukrainian reaction to grain ban. See, a lot of the headlines are just duh. Biden repeats unforgivable remark about Putin. See? Let's see. Polish FM dismisses cash for visa scandal as fake news. Well, not in my lifetime did we ever have to share bath water. But that's my lifetime. Families used to share bath water back in the day. And you know what? It might be going back to that way for a little while. Maybe. Depends how hip we are on carrying water. Nah, it depends on how well we prepare, how well we adapt and modify and overcome. So, I know I don't plan to be without running water for a real long time. I know that damn much. Things can be done. Things can be done now and ready and just put in place when needed. You know what I mean? Yup. I like a flushing toilet, don't you? Flushing toilets are a hell of a thing. I know people are going to be going like, but yeah, the sewage pumps aren't going to be running, so how long are you going to? Yeah, we'll get that taken care of. Not to worry about that. Because there's this magic device of alien technology called a gasifier. You're gonna send me a used condom. Wait, what? What? Oh, you're gonna send me a bidet. Oh hell. You know, it'll never go on the toilet, but I'll have a hell of a lot of fun with it. A garden hose for your ass. Yes. That's all right. Where were we? Putin behind. Oh, covered that one. Oh, that one. Azerbaijan has unleashed large-scale aggression, says Armenia. U.S. national debt passes new landmark. Ukraine looking for alternative. Oh, I covered that. Another EU nation snubs cheap Ukrainian grain. Let's see, covered that. Disputed region calls for ceasefire with Azerbaijan. Russia benefiting from global diesel shortage, says Bloomberg. Ukraine will get Abrams tanks soon, says Pentagon. New York Times spreading conspiracy theories on Ukrainian missile strikes, says top Zelensky aide. Ukraine, Ukraine grain deal dead, says Burrell. Germans facing higher gas bills, says Bloomberg. EU reveals number of Ukrainian refugees in the bloc. Use prisoners for electricity, says Ukrainian MP. Pardon me. I heated up some of leftovers from earlier today. It's good stuff. Shepherd's pie. Love that stuff. Armenian leader warns of potential coup. So he's up in the tree, right, waving his arms and going, coup, coup, coup. Well, okay, maybe it didn't go like that. Global growth forecast slashed. European Parliament calls for sanctions on Azerbaijan. Putin to visit China next month, says Russian security chief. Let's see. UK restricts. Oh, cover that. Protesters clash with cops in Armenian capital. Ukraine conflict set to last a long time, says Erdogan. U.S. warns Azerbaijan to end military operation. And lastly, Armenia asks U.S. to intervene in Karabakh conflict. So, yeah, once again, we are expected to go save the day on our bill. And we just call that Tuesday. Anyway, pretty much. Anymore. I mean, so while all that money doesn't mean piss, why can't they just, like, forward me a couple million, right? I mean, when it ain't gonna matter because none of the rules apply and everything's all made up. Kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyway? But, with even less substance. So, oh, man. I don't know. Like I say, keep at it. Keep at it. Don't stop. Things are going to get real stupid. Really, really stupid. Anyway, I, though, am going to get out of here and get to bed and get some rest so I don't get stupid. I will, God willing, talk to you all tomorrow. I appreciate you coming. Hope to see you tomorrow. And as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.